Good morning, my name is Cole.
My name is April.
And today, we're talking about VA loans. Boom. Good morning, my name is Cole. I'm here with April, who is with the Better Homes and Garden McKenzie team here in Oak Harbor. And today we're gonna be talking about our VA loans. We're gonna talk about what is a VA loan, who qualifies for a VA home loan, and how you can use your VA benefits to benefit you moving forward.
So I'm April Patterson, and I served in the Navy back in 2003. After I got out, I started working with veterans. I went back to school and started working with veterans through the work study program. I was a work study here at the American Legion in Burlington. I started as a work study in 2015 and became the finance officer in 2016, which is a position I still hold today here. So I've done a lot of veteran services work over the past 8-10 years. And that's kind of where my background is with veteran services. I got into real estate about 2 years ago. I got my license during COVID and worked on a team with Keller Williams and recently switched to Better Homes and Gardens, which is a great fit for me. So
Fantastic.
Okay, so VA home loan is actually a home loan program. So active duty, as long as you've served 90 days continuously, you qualify. So anyone that's been active duty for 3 months or more, you should be having a conversation about the VA loan program and how you can use your BAH to invest in real estate. Now, veterans, everyone thinks a VA loan is only for veterans. It's actually for active duty too. The majority of veterans, 99%, if you serve 2 years or more continuously, you qualify for a VA loan. Now, let me talk about some exceptions. Exceptions for discharges. If you got out on a hardship discharge, a service-connected disability discharge, a government reduction in service discharge, things like that, there are exceptions for how long you had to have served for that one. There's also exceptions for our Vietnam guys. So I love my Vietnam guys. We have a lot of Vietnam veterans here at the American Legion. And actually, side note, my very first client was the old commander here, who is a beloved Vietnam veteran friend of mine. If you served, let's see, no matter how long you served, or no matter if you stepped foot in Vietnam or not, 90 days service, you qualify for a VA loan. So we know a lot of VA benefits, which are separate from VA loans, but VA benefits for our Vietnam guys, we do know they require some boots on the ground in-country time. The VA loan program is not associated with the VA itself, so that boots on the ground in-country requirement does not apply to Vietnam guys. So, and another note, World War II guys, yes, we still have World War II guys. Dwayne Stowe here on Fairhaven is one of our oldest members here at the Legion, and he is a World War II guy, and he is perfectly capable of buying property if he chooses, and he qualifies for his VA loan. So World War II vets, 90 days, you're good to go. So Dwayne, when you're ready. Korean War vets, exceptions, also the same 90 days. National Guard, here's the biggest one that COVID affected. 90 days non-training active duty service. So you had to be active duty for 90 days and you qualify for the National Guard. Now, post 1990, need 90 days active service. Now, a lot of people don't think they have that active service. Well, during COVID, over 1 million National Guard were called up to active duty, and we know how long COVID lasted, so these guys, a lot of these service members qualify now as the active duty service time. So if you're in the National Guard and you have questions about this, reach out. We will let you know if you qualify. Still don't know if you qualify through all that. There's discharges that will help you qualify no matter what your time in service. Again, we have hardship discharges, we have government convenience discharges, we have early outs, force reductions, certain medical conditions, service-connected disabilities. There's so many factors that go into how you got out that affect your qualifying status. So there's a website you can go to. You can go directly to the VA and get on the VA loan section. There's frequently asked questions. We'll put a link up, and you can search your certificate of eligibility. It's a super easy click, put in some information, they'll send you a letter if you qualify. Also, If you don't want to do that or uncomfortable doing that, find a really good VA loan officer and they can do that for you. They should be able to do that for you within minutes. So,
And I just want to touch on something real quick. On the VA website, there's a matrix that you can download, and it'll show you based on what kind of discharge you have, or it's actually based on your enlistment code, your discharge enlistment code. I think.
If you know
Don't
those
quote
things.
me on that, but I know that there's certain codes that you are associated with when you get discharged, and there's a matrix based on that discharge code that you'll be able to determine what benefits and eligibilities you're for. So.
My personal need to have this knowledge so I can better serve our veterans. So one of the biggest things with VA loans, it's 100% financing. Well, the VA is backed by the government and they say, no, we'll cover all of it. So if your home appraises at $500,000, you qualify as long as you meet other financial qualifications. You would qualify for that loan. So it's a huge thing for veterans. It supports that zero down, getting into the game, home ownership for VA loans.
I want to tag on to that zero down. Remember, it is a zero money down program, but there's still going to be closing costs and your funding fee that's going to be associated with the closing of the loan. So it's something you need to consider moving forward.
There are some protections with the VA loan where certain forms say VA doesn't have to pay the VA buyer doesn't have to pay certain closing costs. But again, that does not mean you're not going to have to come to the table with money. So we have programs out there with loan officers and loan companies and mortgage companies such as Homes for Heroes, Giving to Heroes, Mount Baker Mortgage has a program. And again, this is one reason me as a real estate agent love to give you a few people I work with as far as lending, because you need to pick the program that's best for you, that works out for you. And I work Homes for Heroes as a real estate agent, and working with me as a real estate agent with Homes for Heroes does not prevent you with working with any other lender out there, be that a bank or a mortgage broker or an independent finance person. Whoever you want to work with financially, you are absolutely able to do that. And there are so many great programs out there that will help heroes with their closing costs to help with what you have to bring to the table, as well as what he called concessions, which is kind of where we ask the sellers to do something financially for us, whether that be buy down a rate or cover some of the closing costs. So again, there's ways to work these in where we can help you if you don't have that 6 figures to bring to the table, or even 5 figures to bring to the table, or you're struggling with 4 figures to bring to the table. We have programs out there. Please don't let finances be a barrier for home ownership. Another benefit of VA loans, no PMI. So PMI is what we call private mortgage insurance.
Rule of thumb is like an FHA program, it's only a 3.5% down program. Once you reach a 20% equity in the home, then you can request to have PMI taken off. And actually at 78%, it is automatically taken off.
Okay.
But to take into consideration, those insurance costs, money that add to your monthly payment every month. And when you're talking about $120 to $150 a month, it'll add up over time and it'll incur towards your debt to income ratio. So just one thing to consider is with that VA home loan, when you take that PMI off, you're protected against the government backs the lender, protects the lender in case of default on the loan, but you do not have to pay for it.
Nice. And so another thing with that PMI, a lot of people think, oh, it's only $120, $150 a month. Well, reach out to us because we can show you what $150 a month towards your principal does for you. Even if you don't want to put that money in your pocket and you say, oh, I can still afford to pay that, fine. Pay it towards the principal. And we can show you 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years knocked off your loan. We can show you the value of that PMI.
Yeah, sounds
Interest
about right.
rates are always competitive with VA.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about interest rates, we're talking about the other things like, well, we're not talking about the other things, but when we talk about interest rates, you also have to consider the other things like the closing costs and the fees. You talked about FHA needing 3.5% down. Well, right there off the bat, you're saving 3.5% going VA because you're not bringing that to the table to put down. So, and you're saving on an interest rate because it's lower than FHA right now. So there's just so many ways for you to save.
So many ways for you to save.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
One other thing I wanted to touch on. The first thing I always mention or ask VA buyers, are you connected with the VA? The value of your VA benefits is so much more than financially in your bank account every month. The number one thing I hear from veterans who I ask, have you ever filed a claim? And they say, no, I don't need the money. Okay. So there's more to VA benefits than just having that money. The 10% VA disability is roughly $160 a month, $165 a month. Now, again, we talk about what that could do putting towards a loan. Not only what you could do putting that $165 a month towards your VA loan principal payment, that 10% also gets you more benefits, such as you now don't pay the funding fee. How much is a VA funding fee?
It's I think it's 3.5%. It's close to 3% of the loan. So on a $500,000 loan, it's like $8,000. So
that's a lot of money.
I might take that piece out because I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's something like that.
I think it's 3.2.
Something like that.
I think.
And it's different
And it
based
varies.
on your first, whether it's a first time purchase or it's a subsequent use, or even at your third time, it'll increase even further.
And you just pointed out another great benefit is that you can use this loan over and over and over. And
again.
people misunderstand that. They're like, oh no, yes. You can use this loan over and over and over. It's all about what we call entitlement. So, again, get with someone who knows. Get with someone who knows.
Even if you've had previous foreclosure or bankruptcy.
I foreclosed on my very first house, and I still own. Yeah, I foreclosed on my very first house back in 2008, and it was a VA loan. And I still had enough entitlement left to purchase the home I'm in now.
And were you able to recover what was lost from that?
I was not, but the purchase price was so low in Oak Harbor at that point that I still had enough entitlement to purchase what I wanted. I would have had more had I requested to get that, what do you call it? Reinstated or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, get that entitlement back. Because you can apply for that. You can apply to get that entitlement back.
Yes, you can.
And again, it matters so much who you work with. At the end of the day, money buys houses. I can know everything there is to know about VA loans, but I can't process a VA loan. So I can't give you that money to buy a house. You have to have a really good lender who's really willing to work with you. I'll give an example of my own personal situation. So when I purchased my house, this was 2016. My first loan was for $200,000. And I have a family of 4, and that just wasn't gonna work. So I literally went back and had a conversation with a different agent or a different lender, and I begged and pleaded and told him my situation. I know I can afford this much per month, and we got to talking about I get VA disability compensation, which is non-taxed compensation, and so that money plays in differently when you're calculating how much someone qualifies for a loan. Now, my first people didn't know that, and I'm not going to name drop those first people because lots of people use them, and I'm not going to name drop them.
Okay.
But shop around because the big names aren't always the ones who have all the information. I ended up going with Guild Mortgage on my first home and my second home in Cedar Woolley, and he was able to get an extra 30% on that income because it was not taxed. Yes.
When you have VA disability that's coming in, it's non-taxable, so we can gross it up by 25%.
Oh, you get compensation. Oh, guess what else? That means you don't pay your funding fee. They know these things off the top of their head. Guess what else? You're a 100% disabled veteran. You might qualify for property tax discounts in Skagit County. There's just so many things that a good loan officer, a good real estate agent that works with veterans should know off the top of their head. Okay, so we talked a little bit before about how 10% disability compensation can get you waive that
funding fee.
VA funding
Waive
fee.
that funding fee.
Yeah, which is a big, big thing when you're talking about how much money you have to bring to the table.
There are some programs out there that will pay for your appraisal, and then at that point you'll put in an offer in on the home, Once you put in the offer, we do have options that you can do discounted insurance and discounted inspection. And then there are programs out there. One of the programs that we host is at the closing date. We'll give you a free Ring doorbell security system because 60% of home buyers worry about burglary. So it's just a way for you to be completely aware of everything that's going on with your Ring. But just things to consider moving forward, because April's absolutely right. You're gonna have to pay for your appraisal, which is right now $1,050 of inspection. You're gonna have to pay for your inspection. Insurance is definitely something that you can consider, but if you do VA, that PMI is gonna be waived.
I'll touch 1 second on flood insurance.
Flood insurance.
Flood insurance is a big thing here in Skagit County. Law passed late last year, early this year. They said you can shop around for flood insurance now, which is a huge win for buyers. But what you have to understand about flood insurance, even though you're shopping around, that money is still due at closing. Your first year of flood insurance is not something you can put into escrow. It has to be paid at the closing table. You can roll into escrow later in the next years of the loan, if I'm right, but that first has to be brought to the table. So again, another cost that if you don't have a good agent or mortgage lender, you might miss that.
Yeah.
And it is not something you want to be blindsided with when it's $1,000 for your flood insurance. So I just want you to be aware that shop around, but still know that that is definitely a cost, flood insurance that will come to the table, and not regular homeowners insurance.
And just to be clear, you're gonna open escrow with an earnest deposit, and we were just talking about the earnest money. It depends. Sometimes it'll depend on the buyer situation, but usually what I've seen is a $500. It's a simple $500 deposit that'll go into escrow as earnest money to open up escrow, and that cost will be then compensated at the closing table.
Yes. So again, having a good agent, having a good mortgage lender, having a good loan officer, it matters. It will make or break a deal.
One thing I can do today to begin my VA home buying dream.
So first thing I'm going to tell every single veteran, I'm going to ask them, are you connected with the VA? Are you registered with va.gov? If not, we want to get you registered with VA. So we want to make sure you're taking advantage of not just this loan benefit, but all the other benefits that could come along with that. So it's the very first thing off the bat, are you connected with the VA? If you're not, we have great resources. We have a great county service officer here in Skagit. And once we get you connected with that, then we sit down and talk about buyer strategy and what your dreams are for the future. And then we'll get you some recommendations of some loan officers to reach out to that are really great with VA. And we want you to find that perfect fit, that person that really you feel is going to be your advocate, because we are working for you. When you sign paperwork with us, when you sign that buyer agreement, when you sign those loan documents, you are saying that we are going to be your advocate. We are going to do everything we can and be fiduciary responsibly for you and take care of all your needs so you don't have to. So.
Fantastic. April, do you have anything else you have to add?
I don't. Go Navy.
Go Navy. April, thanks so much for being my guest on Lecture Hall today, all about the VA home buying experience. I'm going to leave April's contact information at the bottom of the video. Please feel free to reach out. Reach out to me if you have any questions about the VA. I'm here just for some simple consultation. I know that April is too. And if you like the video, give it a like, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you soon.